All right, I just want to go over with you when you're doing the sheathing on the outside of your building. Typically when you do the sheathing on the outside, I just finished cutting it on these gable ends here. But because it's curving, it's a little bit hard to lay that out before and while your framing's going on. So what I did was I nailed up the rafters, and then I just full sheet, just nailed on the full sheet onto there, and then I cut it, and I just finished sanding it after. That's the best way to get it. And it's similar with doing a round window, and this is what I'm going to just show you here. Generally, when you frame out a window for an RO, you do it all in framing, and then you put your plywood on, and then you cut in between your framing out all the plywood. And in this case, because it's round, I'll just show you what I'm going to do. To do the framing on a round circle beforehand and then cut out on the framing is a little bit tricky. The fastest way is actually to not do the framing, just leave that in till the end. And this is going to be the window. And this is going to look awesome. This is in the loft, and we're going to have two round windows. One's going to go right here, and the other on that side. And so what you do is, whatever window you get on your diameter of your window, depending, it could be different. Find out what the RO is. And the RO is different from the window size. It's about a ½ inch bigger, so that you're able to put the window in, and it's able to move with shrinkage and expansion. So here what I have here is I have the RO size for that window. So in whatever your window is, in this case, this one is a 24 inch. So what you do is take a piece of wood, it could be a plywood, put in a screw, and that's your center point. So half of 24 is 12 inches. So what you do is you make a mark from that circle. What I did was I put a piece of wood, and I just followed that around, and then I cut that out. It was just beautiful. So now this is actually the RO size. So what I'm going to do is I have it centered where I want it, and I'm just going to make a pencil line on there. It just feels like a toy. It's so awesome. So here we have the line that you would cut out now. So once this is cut out, that's actually your framing, what you're going to work your framing dimensions to now. So you'll probably put a stud that goes straight down, and then you will probably, depending on how you want to do it, but you could have many different sizes of blocks on angles to get that radius. The only reason why you need that is just something that you can nail your trim onto. This area isn't load bearing because all the weight is being transferred to these walls. This area is not, so it doesn't matter about having headers in this area. So now that once you have your plywood cut out, and now we're going to be doing, just wanted to show you the steps for framing. The reason why I thought it would be a good idea to do framing afterwards is trying to frame out first and then cutting out is a lot of work. If you just cut out your opening, now you have something you can work to. So now what you see here is once I cut out the plywood, I just added in my framing on the side, and I just made the same, the framing material, the same thickness as your wall, so that you can insulate all in between there. And keep your cutouts. And this is why, so this is just a cutout that dropped down in one of our videos when I was cutting that out. So now what you want to do with the cutout, and I'll just show you right here. Take your cutout, and now wherever you're cutting, your cutting station, you'll just put it on your table, whatever, and then you take your material that you're using and figure out what is the longest distance that you can get on the diameter there. Before it starts turning too sharp. So with this 24-inch opening here, I figured out that 3 inches right here worked perfectly for me to get a bevel cut on there. And then I was able to start making a bunch of 3-inch blocks with my bevel cut. And depending on the diameter of your window, that bevel is going to change. And depending on if the diameter is bigger or smaller, this length might go smaller or bigger. But it just worked out that it was 3 inches. And then this is, for the framing of this window, it ended up taking me 26 pieces to wrap that entire window. And you can do that all on the ground. And what I did was I just put a piece, a 2x4 down that was long enough, and then I just overlapped it, and I just eyeballed to where I thought, okay, right about there, okay. And then I took a pencil and then I marked, and then I went to the chop saw, and that was how I got my bevel, the degree there. And once you do that, then you can just take your framing and then just pin it on from the sheathing all the way around, and then there you have it. Now you have a framed window after the fact with the hole open, and I think it's just lovely how it all falls into place. And anyway, voodoo. Hey, Robert Johnson here. Wait, I just want to go over a few overlap details with the paper. So you want to think like a raindrop. So every time that you overlap, how is the raindrop when it gets in behind? What is it going to do? So when you put your layer on, you always want to start at the bottom, and as you're going up, you're overlapping so the water can continue through. So now when you get to a round window, it's a little bit tricky. So wherever your last layer ends before you continue all the way up, go about halfway up or quarter way up in the middle of the window, and start stapling on a liner in your window opening, and that liner staple overlap the bottom, and then right at this line staple in at the top. And that's what I'm doing here, is I'm just going to start bringing in over there, so that way when my top layer goes on, it overlaps that just beautifully. All right, have a good day. Hey, how you doing? It's a little bit windy, so I hope you can hear me. I just want to talk to you about blueskin, a window. And here I am at the circular opening. So we keep on talking about circular windows. It just keeps on going and going and going with all the different steps that you got to do. Now, normally when you blueskin, and in this case, there's lots of different products, and there's different ways actually about papering or whether using blueskin. What I'm using here is called Typar, and it's the same kind of thing. And on a square window, right in the corners, you usually do like a bow tie. And there's different ways of doing that. And on the circular window here, I just want to show you what I have done. And there's many different ways that you can do it, but I found this worked the best and the easiest, really. Here we have the round window. And what I did was, the first layer, I cut a 4-inch piece, and I did a 1-inch overhang. So the 4-inch piece went here with the 1-inch overhang, and I just hung it in 3 inches, and I just started putting the Typar or blueskin or whatever you're using all the way around. And then what you do with that 1-inch overhang, you just stretch it, and then you just stretch it over, because it's only overhanging 1 inch. You could literally stretch it over all the way around so it's sitting flat on your wall. And then what you want to do is cut a bunch of little strips, and then on the outside you get your proper overlap. Again, 4 inches is what I did here, and then you can just start doing it in sections, and then you're just going to be overlapping that 1 inch, and that's a good water seal connection there. Anyway, right. All right, now that you have all your strips in place and you're ready to put the window in, the nice thing about doing the round windows, you don't have to level it because it's round. So what you want to do is get the window in place, make sure that you have your proper air vents at the bottom, and then what you do is you just center it in the opening, and that way you'll have a nice reveal consistently all the way around. And yeah, that's it for the round window. All right,